What if you could ensure that your child wasn't predisposed to deadly hereditary diseases? The answer may be a no-brainer for most people, but would you also want to pick their height, their hair color, eye color? What about their IQ? Those answers may not be so easy or may be more difficult to answer. You may have heard the practice referred to as building designer babies or genetically engineering embryos. It's illegal here in the United States. But a new Wall Street Journal report alleges that there is an American company trying to do just that by going overseas. The report claims the Silicon Valley startup called Preventive is working toward genetically engineering its first human baby and may experiment in another country where that's legal. It is worth noting that Preventive denies the Wall Street Journal report and says it's only focusing on preclinical research. Regardless of whether the report is true, the ethical dilemma remains. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you actually should. My next guest has been out in front of this conversation for years and is offering a stark warning about these tools getting into the wrong hands. Joining me now is best-selling author Jamie Metzel. His newest book, Superconvergence, tracks the intertwined technologies of AI, genetics, and biotechnology. All right, you say this could turn out to be a complete disaster. Why?
Well, human biology is extremely complex. We don't really understand it all that well. It sounds great if you're thinking of the human genetics are like computer code and there's a virus or a little bug and we're going to go fix it. But we have no idea what all of our genes do. And so if you're going and monkeying around in the genome of a pre-implanted embryo of a child to be taken to term, you really need to know what you're doing. And the science just isn't ready the science isn't there yet. And that's why I've called this for a long time Nuremberg-style human experimentation.
Wow.
And we just need to be really careful. I mean, what we're talking about are human lives.
This company, according to this Wall Street Journal report, it's illegal in the United States to do this, and it's illegal in most countries. China just put a guy in jail for 3 years who says he genetically engineered 3 human babies who were immune to HIV. He ended up in prison.
And then the babies aren't immune to HIV, which shows how complex all of this stuff is.
Right. But so the report says that this company Preventive is trying to do this in the UAE, which I guess, anything goes in the United Arab Emirates.
Well, as you know, as you said, the company is denying this, but certainly they have said in their investor meetings that this is what they're trying to do. And I was a member of the World Health Organization Expert Advisory Committee on Human Genome Editing, which was created in the immediate aftermath of that debacle in China in 2018 and 2019 with the first CRISPR babies. And what we have said, it applies now. It's not that that the idea, hypothetically, of altering the genome of a pre-implanted human embryo is inherently unethical. But it's unethical now because the science isn't there yet. And so whether these guys do it anywhere, it should be banned in all places. If they do it here or the UAE, it's wrong and shouldn't be done.
So to be clear, there are already companies, people and parents can have their embryos tested for things like Down syndrome, Tay-Sachs disease, cystic fibrosis. Parents can then choose to either end the pregnancy or not to implant that embryo.
Right.
What we're talking about here is going into that embryo, seeing things, and then going in and changing things.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Elizabeth. So IVF used to be controversial. Now it's not. Lots of people, millions of people, of children have been born through in vitro fertilization. There's a process of pre-implantation genetic testing where an embryo multiple embryos prior to implantation in the mother during IVF, a few cells are extracted after about 5 days, and they can be genome sequenced, and you can get a lot of information about these different embryos, and that can be very useful in choosing which of those embryos outside of the body in the lab to implant in the mother. That is less controversial. But the idea of editing these pre-implanted embryos in a heritable way,
and where's
that's
the line?
Extremely controversial. Yes.
Okay, so one of Preventive's backers, which is the billionaire Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong, posted this on X. More than 300 million people globally live with genetic disease. It's far easier to correct a smaller number of cells before disease progression occurs, such as in the embryo. Is he wrong? I mean, it sounds like, okay, yeah, why don't we try and go into the embryos?
Theoretically, it's correct. I wrote a whole book on this that you and I have talked about, Hacking Darwin, and so hypothetically, it is correct. And certainly—
The problem is we don't know how to do it.
We don't know how to do it well enough at this point, but certainly it's easy to foresee a future, and I personally do foresee a future where we're going to have different options for how to treat genetic diseases. We can do it after somebody is born. We can do fetal surgery, and in some limited number of cases in the future, we will be able to edit the pre-implanted embryos and change a life that would have been 5 painful years and an early death to 90 years and a fulfilling life. The issue is that we're not there yet, and people who are trying to do it now have the potential to cause real harm, and it's not coincidental that these are tech people. These aren't healthcare people. These aren't biology people. These are tech people, and it's just wrong to think that humans are just like computers, and you change one piece of code and change everything.
And everything's going to be just fine. There's also the troubling line of we're dancing up against eugenics, which is what the Nazis did in World War II, of trying to breed a superior human being.
Well, if we can get rid of deadly genetic disorders, it's not a terrible thing. So we just need to have a level of care and a level of ethics that is suitable for the magnitude of what we're trying to do.
All right. Jamie Metzel, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.